To the very best of my knowledge, this story is true. I don't expect to convince you, and truth be told, I've had a hard time coming to terms with it myself. Cliché as it may be, I am really a rational person. And, if not for this, I would probably be the most stone-faced atheist you'd ever meet. But, after much internal struggle and debate, I've come to the conclusion that there are things in life that simply cannot be explained with reason, at least in the form we know it. Logic, for all the trust we place in it, is really nothing more than a candle, all too easily snuffed out, and when it is gone, we are left alone in the dark, and everything we would scoff at by daylight becomes very believable. Alright, before I become too melodramatic, here's my story. I was very young, only about 4 or 5 at the most, before either of my siblings were born. It was just Mummy and Daddy and me, living in our house in Great Bend, Kansas. Very quaint. We were a young family without much money, and most of our furniture was second-hand. It was the middle of the day, summer, hot, boring. I was playing marbles by myself on the thin carpet beside the huge flower-patterned couch. Mum was down the hall in the kitchen and Dad was at work. Why we were trying to roll marbles around on the carpet, I don't know. We had a perfectly good lino floor after all. But I was there, swishing marbles back and forth, happily bouncing them into each other. Then, in my overzealous enthusiasm, I rolled too hard. My favourite marble, the clear ruby red one, zipped into the dark space under the couch and was lost. Dad wasn't home and he was the only one strong enough to move that huge old couch for me, so I'd have to get the marble back myself. I reached my hand under the couch, tentatively at first, and then deeper. I had no luck finding my marble. I pulled my hand out in disappointment, and then a hand reached out from under the couch back at me. I remember the image vividly, and I suspect I always will. It was a slim hand with tapered fingers, a woman's hand, and it was gnarled and wrinkled as if aged, and it was dead black. Not black as in African, black as in dead. Of course, back then, I didn't know that corpses blacken as they decompose, so I didn't know what the black meant. The hand reached out to me as far as it could, which was just up to the wrist, and then it retreated back under the couch. And then it emerged again, this time pushing with it a little crumpled plastic bag with a logo on it I didn't recognise. It waited, as if expecting me to take the bag. Then, when I didn't, it pulled the bag back under the couch and was gone. I got up and I walked into the kitchen, and I told my mum what just happened. Why didn't I run screaming? Or at least run? I don't really know. All I can say is I was a little kid. A hand reaching out from under the couch didn't seem like that huge a deal. I hadn't yet learned what was and what was not permissible in reality. I had no worldview. My mum was sceptical but walked me back to the couch and explained how I was probably imagining things. She even reached her hand under the couch to try and convince me that nothing was down there. And then later, my dad lifted the couch up for me, and the only thing under there, of course, was my marble. Plus a few more marbles I don't even remember losing. But here's the scary part. For years I remembered this. I even developed this weird fantasy of little hand people living under the couch, and I, in my childlike innocence, believed that they would catch me and take me away if I ever reached into the domain again. Then, as I grew older, I wrote the memory off as a dream I had when I was a child. Cute, but silly. Then a few years ago, I recounted the story to my mother. She gave me a funny look and told me she remembered it, because after all, she had been there. She told me that she remembered me coming into her in the middle of the day and telling her about the hand under the couch. I remember being highly disturbed by my story since I was an extremely quiet, well-behaved kid who never lied. Then, she told me about the couch itself. According to her, she and Dad had actually gotten the couch from an estate of an old woman who'd actually died on it. This was the first time I'd heard about this, but it sure explained why they got rid of the couch within a month of my story. But here's the part that truly frightens me even to this day. The part that I've tried so hard to get out of my head some nights. Remember that bag the hand pushed towards me? I've never forgotten the logo that was on it. And recently, as in a few years ago, I saw the same logo again, on what looked like the same type of bag, in a hardware store. It was a bag of utility razor blades.